What is up, guys? It is the sports nerd Bradley Walker, and welcome to the Walker Report, part of NGSC Sports. Guys, remember the website, it's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. We are also part of Mancini Media, the Game Winner Sports Network, the Snowman Multimedia Sports, and the Sports Alliance of America Incorporated. Welcome in, guys. Happy New Year to everyone out there. Happy 2024. Hopefully, if your 2023 did not go well, hopefully your 2024 will go better. Sorry, guys, with the lack of the shows. With the bowl season happening in December and family stuff, it's hard for me to get on here. So maybe in December of next year, this year, we may have to adjust show times and stuff. But that's 11 months from now. We'll worry about that at that time. But guys, again, Happy New Year to everyone. We still have our two great sponsors, creatingzenspaces.com. It is the local choice in St. Petersburg, Florida, for house cleaning, organization, decluttering, and pet sitting. It's about finding the peace within you, adding comfort to your life. And guys, remember, Zen Spaces begins with you. Be kind to yourself and one another. We are also sponsored by funwags.com. Born from a near tragedy, the Wag mascots had a bad reaction to a store brand treat, but we make treats that you can pronounce with just three ingredients. Head on over to fun-wags.com to try these treats, and trust me, they are great for your pets. All right, guys, welcome in. I want to give a shout out before I bring on my co-host. I want to give prayers to Gerald and his wife. She was in the hospital and is recovering. So I know he's listening. He just messaged me a few minutes ago. So, Gerald, get some rest, brother. We'll see you next week. And give some thoughts and prayers and love to your wife. We will miss her very much. I know she's usually, she will chime in from time to time on the show. I have Lou here, and I'll wait for Adam. Hey, Lou, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, bro. Thank you. Okay.
How's everything going?
All right. We're starting to get a little bit of a cold spell here in Jersey, but other than that, we're okay.
Yeah, it's in our highs are like in the mid 60s, our lows are in the 40s. For Florida, that's cold. I know for New Jersey, that's nice, but down here, everybody like goes out and buys firewood.
It's inhuman
when it gets cold like this. So yeah, correct. I mean, we can talk about the bowl games when Adam comes on, but how would you describe the bowl season? Would you say that it was a failure? Would you say that it was good? I mean, there were a lot of blowout games.
If you want to talk the Florida State Georgia game, that was a mismatch from the word go. Thank you very much. I expected much better than that.
True.
63-3. Wow. Can't reminisce of last year's championship game series with Georgia when they creamed their opponents, and like it was like a carbon copy of that. Deja vu all over again. So I'm hoping the championship game of Monday night is not going to be a repeat of either last year's championship game or the Georgia Florida State game, which was just completely awful. And not for nothing, but I think Florida State got robbed. Not making it to the Final Four because Alabama got in because Nick Saban, as we all know, was a jackass. First of all, he had to, of course, butt in and say, "Oh, well, we should be in the playoff picture." No, you didn't deserve it. Just like you didn't deserve it this year. You had to, if you're part of the expression, you had to bitch to the committee about, being snubbed last year. So well, okay, if you're 12-1, and you beat them, and even though Florida State's higher than you, we're gonna let you in. Well, you just got far back already. See, Nick Saban played a role in that of getting to the Final Four this year, even though he went down, and deservedly so. You deserve to get down. Michigan deserved that win. Well, Alabama should be ashamed of themselves.
I also think, Lou, too, that he picked Alabama because it made them more money.
Exactly.
FSU,
but it can't be all about money either.
Them not being
it can't
relevant.
Be about money.
Well, I mean, that's what it's all about anyway. It's all about money in the end. We all know that. So,
Yeah, but it should be about who's the best teams. And Florida State was a
well, I
better team
mean,
than Alabama.
Well, they weren't.
would you say Alabama was only lost came against Texas?
Yeah, but Florida State didn't have
So,
any losses at
I
all.
mean, how would you? True, but their out of conference schedule wasn't so great either. I mean, they had what many would consider a cupcake game before the Florida game, and the Gators weren't what they normally are either. So, I mean, again, I'm not saying that FSU didn't get screwed. They did, but I think at the end of the day, the committee picked Alabama because they knew they were going to make more money. And I also believe they didn't want to have another game like they did against Georgia. They didn't want to have another blowout game if Michigan had done what they did. They don't want to do that too because you don't want to embarrass a team either. You know what I mean? You don't want to.
No, we don't.
You don't want to have a team go to the playoffs and be embarrassed. I mean, I wouldn't want it as a coach. Stuff like that. I mean, that's just me. But that's how I would look at it.
I mean, we didn't expect 63-3 anyway. I mean, I wasn't expecting that at all. I was going to be a much closer game, high scoring affair, but still, first scoring game because this game sucked.
FSU had 20 players out. They had transfers and people that have opted out to go to the NFL draft. So they were already playing with a half a deck, as you might say.
Yeah.
So
they're not even half a deck.
And then
Georgia, one quarter.
Georgia's Georgia. So I was gonna say they don't even have a deck.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
FSU was home. FSU was 100% checked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be there.
Yeah, which made for a very uncompetitive football.
I agree with that. I think.
And the reason that they didn't get put in is because Bama was going to be the better matchup.
Hmm.
And that's the thing is like the thing about it is just that Bama was getting in. They won the SEC. They were 12-1. They're with their only loss to the number 3 team in week 2. And had help me here, Jordan Travis not gotten hurt, FSU probably would have been in. But at the end of the day, he did get hurt, and that's why depth is so important. They didn't have a guy that could step up and step into that role and be competitive, And when you only have the one guy, when he goes down and then your 2 goes down and now you're down to some third guy, schlub, who nobody's ever heard of, you're asking for trouble.
Mm-hmm. Just because one guy got hurt, they got penalized.
Well, I'm curious now too.
Yes.
Well, I'm curious now too. With Jordan Travis out, he's not going to come back, and FSU's Rademacher was their backup. He transferred, so I don't even know who the quarterback is. Oh no, they got the kid who played for Clemson, right? DJ, whatever his name is.
The one guy, whatever his name is.
They got him to transfer. Yeah, he's going to be the starter next year.
But at the end of the day, we got a better game though. If all things being equal, if they put FSU in that game against Michigan clobbers them, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
It may not be the full. It's what 13. It's 38-13, 38-16.
Yeah.
Because Georgia, Michigan. Okay, so let's break it down, right? Alabama beats Georgia. Georgia thumps FSU. Michigan beats Alabama. Alabama beat Georgia, right? So if everything holds as it is, and Michigan doesn't have the mental errors on special teams that they had, Um, the Michigan beats Florida State going away. That Florida State team that showed up against Georgia was just so mentally checked out. They didn't care. They didn't want to be there. They had no desire to play in that game. And I don't know if you put that same team that's mentally checked out. You can, and of course, people will argue that they were only mentally checked out because they didn't make the playoff. But had they made the playoff, you're still playing with those same guys, right? And Georgia had just as many checkouts just as many transfers as and opt-outs as Florida State did, and they still cakewalked them. They still dog-walked their asses. And Florida State almost lost. That same said Florida State team almost lost to Florida, a down Florida team. They almost lost to Louisville, who's an okay for Louisville team, but okay for Louisville. Not an okay college. They're a good Louisville team. They're one of those every 10 or 15 years type Louisville teams that comes around, or 5 years, maybe not 10. No, every 5 years Louisville has a decent team that wins 9 or 10 games. And had the committee put the FSU in the game against Michigan, Michigan's going to dog walk them. And we get the best Rose Bowl game in 15 freaking years. That was win, lose, or draw. Win, lose, or draw. That was the best game in the Rose Bowl since Vince Young and USC. When Vince Young and USC went round for round. And you can't convince me otherwise.
No,
and yet it was sloppy.
That was the only game that I watched. I didn't watch a lot of the Texas Washington game, but I did watch the Michigan Alabama game. Did pay a lot of attention, and not to be biased or anything, but I hope Michigan wins it all. So there's my pick.
To be biased and all
on Monday. And you know what? I'm kind of glad that FSU did score 3 points because USF holds the record for the biggest shutout in a bowl game in college football history, beating Syracuse 45-0. Had Georgia beat Florida State 63-0, the record would have belonged to Georgia. So, yes, thank you, FSU, for helping keep USF in the record books for the time being. But
and I think the problem is that the games don't matter, right? There's no like next year. Next year the games will matter because Florida State and Georgia will play each other to get to the next round. It will matter, or it'll matter again, as some people might like to say. And it's funny now here in 2024 as we slip into the new year. 15 years ago, people were complaining about the made-for-TV bowls. They didn't matter, right?
Right.
They were just making up bowls because they wanted to sell advertising, and it hasn't stopped. In the 15 years since they started all the extra bowls, when they started sending everyone who had looked at a football the right way, and they started sending everyone and they started letting everyone with 7 wins. When everyone with 7 wins was making a bowl, or 6 wins, people were saying 15 years ago when I was understanding what was going on. I was first understanding what was going on. This is 2003, 2004. Oh, we don't need all these bowl games. Get rid of them.
Right.
And they haven't stopped. And now they're still complaining about the made-for-TV bowls. Oh, they don't matter. They don't. And they really don't. And that may be true. And that may be true to a certain extent. But for kids, for a lot of those kids, outside of the guys that opt out, because obviously those guys that opted out think they're going to go play in the league. They think they got a shot at the league. That's why they opted out. They don't want to get Jake butted. They don't want to get hurt. Or they don't want to break an ankle or rip a meningus or, hurt their epidermis or whatever might happen to them, and and go from a surefire top 5 pick to a to undrafted. Marvin Harrison, he opted out for Ohio State. It doesn't matter, right? He doesn't have any. He's gonna play on Sunday. He doesn't need another tune-up game. He doesn't need another game on tape. But for some of these guys, these fifth-year seniors or four-year seniors, guys that have played, but especially guys, especially interior offensive and defensive linemen, guys that don't get on, guys that you want to get on as much tape as you can. I don't blame them. I don't blame them for wanting to go play in one more game. A guy like some of the kids at Florida State trying to pad their resume, go out there and show that they can, show what they can do one last time before they shut it down and have to decide what the future is, whether they're going to go to the league or not.
Yes.
And now next year, as we finish up this season, next year it will matter. All those bowl games that don't matter, they're going to matter. Florida State and Georgia, because that'll be a playoff game next year. Next year, that's a playoff game. Florida State, Georgia, and I think, and I still think, even if Rodemaker plays, right? I still think even if Rodemaker plays, I think it's like 63. Okay, so they hold Georgia to 48. It is 48-31. What do you do? They still lose. I don't think the committee got it wrong, honestly. And I think the best thing for the committee was FSU got dog walked. That was the best thing. That was the thing that the committee was hoping for, was FSU getting dog walked. Because otherwise, they're gonna have to hear it for the next year forever that they deserve to be there. I need a drink. I'll be right back.
I think the reason they didn't put you in there is because the same thing that happened at the TCU last year in the national championship game where Georgia rolled them. They didn't want to have another embarrassment because then they're going to say, okay, now the committee picks to be embarrassed. Well, no, we avoided an embarrassment because you guys ended up getting rolled by Georgia. And now, like you said, the committee right. Now, of course, FSU fans are going to say no. If we had Jordan Travis, even if you had Jordan Travis and you're playing Michigan, I don't know if you still win the football game. Like I said, the reason I say that is FSU.
Well, look at them.
Yes, I know they beat top 10 teams. They beat LSU week 1, but again, that was a different LSU team than we saw at the end of the season. The same LSU, not the same LSU team that lost in won the Reliant Bowl on a 98-yard drive to beat Wisconsin on New Year's Day. But I mean, again, I have to agree with Adam on that too. Is I like these for TV bowl games because guess what? I got to go to one of these made for TV bowl games and watch my team, who only won one game a year ago, win a bowl game and win 7. And in a first-year head coach, first-year offensive, 19-year-old quarterback, and we win 7 games in the first season. Maybe the program is starting to turn around. Maybe we're starting to get out of the dark days of what we had in the past. Hopefully, we'll see come next year. I already talked to Ralph. USF plays Alabama on the road, and I would love to go to Tuscaloosa.
That'd be a fun one.
September to watch them play, just to go and experience going to, where the Tide play and seeing an SEC stadium other than the Swamp, in Gainesville. So, but I really think, honestly, Monday, I think it's going to be a competitive football game. Washington has proved they're supposed to be there. Michigan has also proved that they deserve to. So it comes, and I mean, I saw, Gerald's not here to defend himself, but I did see in his group chat that, you know, most of the people in there are Longhorn fans, and the referees are paid, and wait, it shouldn't come down to a call. Players
Yeah,
play. If it comes
you gotta
down
make
to
plays.
a referee call, that exactly the better team won the football game. Hands down, the better team won the football game, and the two teams that are going to be
It
playing
should.
Monday for the national championship were the better two teams in those games. The thing with Michigan is, I'm sitting next to my
Maybe
brother-in-law,
they're
and
done.
we were celebrating my birthday, who turned 5 on New Year's Eve, but he's a Buckeye fan. So, he was cheering for Alabama because, again, he hates Michigan with every
Right.
ounce of his being, and that's what in
Okay.
Michigan they hate Ohio State. So he was cheering
Let's
for
fucking
Alabama.
go.
He actually messaged me, "Hey, Alabama's going to pull this off," and I said, "Well, wait a minute, the game ain't over yet." And
Yeah.
it got scary there at the end. Michigan ties the game. And correct me if I'm wrong. Did the running back break the touchdown record, program record
For the school. Yep.
for the school?
Yes.
Okay, so he broke the program record.
Yep.
Right.
And Hart is their running back coach, right? The former great
Yep.
running back for Michigan.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
My first love.
And I still don't know what Alabama was thinking by running 4th and goal from, what was it, the 8-yard line, and you run the back up the middle. You don't think that Michigan was prepared for you to run that?
Oh, they were
that
prepared. They were ready.
Well, yeah.
Well, let's
the whole game they were prepared. That was during the pregame, listening to the game before I left to go out to eat. They said the one thing that they wanted to do was contain him and not let him get outside the pocket. And for most of the game, the Michigan defense was able to contain him. So why would you think that you're going to run a play up the middle and they're not going to be ready for that? That I don't know. That's Nick Saban.
Okay.
Said, Lou,
let's.
the jackass. So go ahead.
Jackass.
Well, I want to tell a story, and then we'll break down the game, right? So me and my best friend, she's over at her boyfriend's house, and his aunt is a big Michigan dyed-in-the-wool Wolverines fan, right? And so we're going back and forth talking about the game as it's going on, and we get into overtime. Last play, timeout. We take timeout. They take timeout. Okay, here we go. All the timeouts are over. Everything's done. Last play of the game, right? And we get to stop, right? And I'm listening. I'm watching on my phone, right? I got the YouTube app pulled up, but I don't have the game pulled up because I'm listening to it. I'm listening to the Michigan call on the Varsity Sports app. Big shout out to Varsity Sports. I got to listen to Michigan call. So I got the TV going. I got the radio in my ear, and we get to stop, right, on TV. I see it happen. 10 seconds later, I hear Doug's call. Great call. And as a Jim Brandstander Stan, and we've had him on the show before, but Doug has done he's done a yeoman's job. He's just been outstanding call. But anyway, so the game's over. I gotta call somebody. I'm losing my mind. Game's over. Tears, just everything I've ever wanted. Right, going to the chip, and I just called her and I screamed. I screamed bloody murder. I was like, "Let's fucking go!" just as loud as I could. Right, and I was like, I think I said something along the lines of, "Let's fucking go! We're going to the championship, or we're going to the net, or something like that." And then, okay, so that's my story. And but let's go. Let's get into that play. Okay, it had been there all night. Honestly, that pin and pull with the guard sliding over and creating that trap, and then Milrow coming up through the middle, it had been there all night. It hadn't always worked, but when he had had a chance to let it develop with the low snap and Isaiah Stewart just absolutely blowing their right tackle off the ball. And let's not call. Let's. I'm getting sick and tired of people not giving me credit. Damn it. We made a play. Regardless of whether you like the call or not, you still have to execute. At the end of the day, if Michigan doesn't execute on that play, Milrow walks into the end zone. It's a touchdown. It doesn't matter whether it was a bad snap or a bad play call. When you talk about all these plays, I know a lot of people compared it to the Patriots play in 2015 against the Seahawks, right? And said it was a bad play call. But it was only a bad play, and I like what Nick Saban said. And I'm a Nick Saban hater. Can't stand the man. Think he's scum. But I respect him, right? Hate him, but respect him, okay? And, but like he said in the post-game press conference, it's only a bad play because it didn't work. If it works, he's a hero. He's a genius. This is another Nick Saban miracle. Pulls it out, we play, and who knows what happens next, right? Because Michigan gets the ball, or I think actually Alabama would get the ball again, and would go and have to score, and then, go for two, and then if they score, they have to go for two, and then we score, and we have to go for two and all of that, But Michigan made the play. At the end of the day, Michigan made the plays when they had to make them. Whether it was I don't know what that noise was. Sorry. My chair wiggling against the door frame. Whether it was the double reverse pass where McCarthy makes a one-handed grab, gets his spun around, flips his hips and tosses it 35 yards in the air on the money to Roman Wilson, whether it was getting it over the hand of the linebacker in front of the safety to Corum on 4th and freaking 2. I knew we wouldn't lose. I was sitting there, 4th down, the 3rd down play doesn't work, 4th and 2, and it's 3:19 left, 3 timeouts. Conventional, it's a 50-50 kind of thing where, you punt, play defense, try to get the ball back, 2.5, maybe 2 minutes left, no timeouts, got to drive, 95 yards, maybe, somewhere between 80 and 99 yards, right? If you can get a stop, which was no guarantee in the second half, as Alabama came out of the half and made some great adjustments. They started running the ball more, attacking the ends, pushing Michigan's defensive line upfield, and not letting them establish the line of scrimmage. And that was huge in the second half. Sorry, I have to move my chair. That squeaking is going to drive me bonkers. Yeah. I don't need any help with that. In the second half, in the first half, Michigan's defensive line just absolutely dominated Alabama's offensive line. Blew them 100% off the ball. And Alabama's offensive line didn't know whether they were coming or going or whether shit or go blind. And Alabama made some adjustments in the second half, and they found some things that worked. And they scored 10 points, and they had a 13-10, or they had a 20-13 lead going that last drive. But Michigan's offense had sputtered all second half. Nothing was working. Run, pass, it didn't matter. Nothing was working. And, it was a bad cut here, a missed block there, or a dropped pass here. It was just those ticky-tack little things, the attention to detail that had behooved Michigan in the first half on everything but special teams, the attention to detail that had been a boon for Michigan all first half. Alabama had that in the second half. Outside those 2 snaps. The 2 bad snaps that cost Alabama 30 yards of field position, forced them to have to punt when they were going in what was looking like a scoring drive. What would have made the game, if it's 23-13. It's a 10-point game. Got it, now you're looking at an uphill battle, right? Because if Alabama scores on any one of their drives after they make it 20-13, game's out of reach. It's just not enough time, not enough firepower to come back. And big ups to Harbs, Sharon Moore, Jesse Minner, everybody, the strength conditioning coach, just to keep everybody in the game, keep everybody's head up. Because there were times in the past, and not this week, because this week I never felt like here we go again. But in years past, whether it was '07 against App State, or 1994 against Colorado, Clockgate in '01, Barrett was short in 2016, the second half debacle in 2019 against Ohio State, against Alabama, whether it was the whole 2020. When those things happened in the past, when there's moments in this game where the wheels would have come off for other Michigan teams, but they didn't, because they didn't get down on themselves. So, all right, tap it up, and you go after the next one, and that's what it was all game long.
Mm-hmm.
Tap it up, take responsibility, and get after it on the next one. Any drive that ends in a kick is a good drive, even if it's a punt. Punt and play defense, man, and that's what they did. When it wasn't going well. Did you want to say something, Brad?
Yeah, but I was going to say, I think the reason that the wheels didn't fall off this time is I think this Michigan team had a chip on their shoulder. And being that they lost Harbaugh in the beginning of the season, they lost him in the last couple games. And correct me if I'm wrong, was it their OC or DC that coached in the Ohio State game? Is that their
It's the OC.
Okay.
Yeah, Sharon Moore.
They have their offensive coordinator coach, and they win in fashion. I think the whole cheating scandal with them, I think they had a chip on their shoulder. I think they were out to prove everybody wrong. And oh, by the way, I saw a TikTok of the guy who did this cheating shit, who had a front row ticket at the Rose Bowl, and he was there in his Michigan guard. So just to let them know, he was at the game. And no, they didn't cheat to beat Alabama. But anyway, I think it should have.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's right, but I think on their, that's why they didn't give up. That's why it seems like it's their destiny now to win it all on Monday. It might be another dogfight against Washington on Monday. I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a dogfight on Monday. Hopefully.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that, like you were saying, a chip on their shoulder. I don't know how much is a chip on their shoulder, but they never give up mentality. They never get down. Right? When it's it's 4th and 2 from your own 33 with 3:19 left in a gotta have it moment. And Alabama sends pressure off the edge. McCarthy just floats the ball out there. He doesn't throw it 100 miles. This is the big knock that I've had on McCarthy all year, is that every pass he throws, it doesn't matter whether it's from me to the camera or if he's trying to throw it from me to Brad, he's throwing it 100 miles an hour. Everything's a fastball. Everything is zipping it in there. And I think that costs him a lot of drops. I know some balls, like the ball that he throws later on in that drive to Roman, if he doesn't put everything he's got onto it, if it's just a little bit lower, if it's just a little bit flatter, if it doesn't have the arc, if it comes out flatter and it maintains that flat, and it doesn't have that high arc and that tight spiral, that tight ripping spiral, it gets deflected, and who knows what happens from there. But it's on that. It's got that upward trajectory. It's got that tight snapping spiral on it, that when the defender gets his hands up there, it grazes off the tips of his finger, but it's so hot that even though it's on the tips of his finger, that it's a catch that only Roman can go make, right? And that's, I think, I don't know I don't know why, but it seems like those difficult catches, and it doesn't matter what receiver you have, but it seems like those catches where they're twisting and jumping and diving and rolling and having to make an adjustment on the ball, making a body adjustment. Those are somehow more catchable for a receiver than an 8 yard in or an 8 yard turn, an 8 yard curl at the sticks on 3rd and 7, right? An 8 yard curl where the quarterback just flips the ball out to, you drop it. But when you're coming across the field on the diagonal in traffic, in the last in overtime or in the last drive, in the last 3 minutes of regulation, and you've got to have it. How many times have we seen receivers go up and get it? Just go up and get it because I think it takes more concentration. I think it's easier to catch a ball that you have to concentrate on than it is to catch a ball that's in your hands. I don't know why I'm not a receivers coach, but I've noticed that a lot. As if you put a ball right on the money, if you put a ball on the numbers. If you got your receiver running it up and in, right? You got him on a simple post at 9 yards. All he's got to do is up and in and turn and look for the ball. Ball hits him in the hands and hits turf. But if you send him on a deep drag across the middle where he's got to flash across all the defense and get himself open, and you throw that ball up and behind him. Let me see if I can do this right here. Up and behind him when he's got to make a catch. And he goes up and he high points that ball, and 9 times out of 10 on those ridiculous, 1% catches on the Odell Beckham falling away, one hand over your back into the end zone with a guy in your back pocket. He makes that catch 9 times out of 10. But the simple drag route across the middle, or a skinny post, wide open skinny post because he beat his man off the line, and he drops it. Make it make sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, like I said, I think things happen. Things happen for teams. I mean, I can say that. I can say that about USF. If this year was last year's team, we wouldn't have won. We won one game a year ago, and that's because we let every little thing that went wrong take us down. This year, they weren't like that. They were not like that at all. And like I said, with Michigan as well, they didn't sweat the small stuff. They said, okay, you know what? We made a mistake. We got to go out and make it stop. Get the ball back. Put it back in the hands of our offense. Give McCarthy another shot. And they did that against Alabama. They gave him another shot. He got a touchdown. They tied the game. Then Alabama wins the toss like they did at the beginning of the football game. They play defense. Michigan goes right down shortly, scores. And then now it's like, okay, now Alabama's got to go and score. Well, they didn't score because, they sacks. I mean, I think that played a big factor too. I think Michigan had sacks at the right time. I mean, I know sacks happen throughout the game, but I think when you can't be sacked, Michigan got the sacks when they needed them. When Alabama couldn't lose yards, that they were able
big tackles for loss.
Right, correct. And that will kill any momentum. I don't care what anyone says, whether it's pro, high school, college. If you are in a situation where you can't lose yardage and you do, it kills every momentum and very rarely can you come back from that. So,
Well, and I think the best part about it is that Michigan was getting stops in first and second down, and then not giving up 15, 18, 20 yards on third down. So those losses on first down actually mattered, right? And because I've seen this before with other Michigan teams and just other teams in general. It's not just Michigan, but sorry, with other Michigan teams, I've seen that where oh, big play on first down, they get second and 13. Big play on second down, 39. 39, 15-yard in, first down. Big stop on first down. Okay. 2-yard gain on second down. Third and 11. It's going to get off the field. Can't get off the field. Give up another 15-yard play. And that wasn't happening. Michigan was getting them in third and long and keeping them in fourth and have to punt. They weren't getting down. They weren't picking up 12, 15, 16 yards and making it, they weren't getting first downs or making it fourth and go for it, fourth and manageable.
Mm-hmm.
False.
Yeah, that was a major difference in the game too. They get stops when they needed to get stops, and they took advantage of those stops. And I think the same thing happened in the Washington Texas game too. I think the same thing. I think Washington scored when they needed to. That's why they're playing in the national championship and not Texas. And I would really, really honestly want to ask every Texas fan this. Let's say Alabama did beat Michigan and you guys did beat Washington. Do you want to play Nick Saban again? I sure wouldn't want to play him twice in a year.
No.
Because guess what? Whatever didn't work in the first game, he's going to either find a way for it to work or he's going to make sure that any weaknesses that you have, he'll exploit them. Because that's what he does. That's what great coaches do. Like you said, that's what the Belichicks do. That's what, that's what the Kirby Smarts do. If you play a team 2 times in a year, and you beat them the first time, the second time you may not get those opportunities.
They got the book on you.
So that's the question that I really, really wanted to talk to Gerald about tonight. And unfortunately, he's, like I said, prayers to his wife and him too. But I guess when he's next week, I can ask him, did you want to play Alabama again?
He would
go through that again?
He would.
I mean,
well,
I don't think I would. if I had
but we all know one thing, that Gerald hates Alabama with a passion. Hates it.
Well, and the thing about, I because I've been there the last 2 years, and I'm not going to speak for Gerald, but speaking for myself, the answer is yes, because the alternative is sitting at home watching somebody else play for my championship game. So, win, lose, or draw, I don't care who I play next. I didn't care if we play. I didn't want to play Texas. I would have rather played, Washington. We get Washington. Because I think that Michigan matches up better against Washington than they do against Texas. I could be completely wrong. I was watching some of the Washington tape this morning, but I watched that Arizona game. I watched both the Arizona State game highlights, and if you can keep Penix off his spot, they'll give you the ball. And that Washington defense, they're not anything to write home about. They don't look any tougher than any defense we faced all year. They look about the same on the same level as the Ohio State defense. And
would you say, but the best defense you guys played all year was Ohio State?
No, it was Iowa. Best defense we played all year was Iowa. Iowa's defense was insane. And I know they got crushed by Tennessee in the bowl game, but I mean that was going to happen. They have no offense. You can only send your defense out there so many times before they get their shit pushed in. I mean Iowa's defense. The key to beating Iowa's defense is speed. Is a quick release. because Iowa wants to do the same kind of thing as Michigan, that constrictor, that squeeze the life out of you, squeeze the juice out of you, and that's what Michigan's defense did to Alabama. Absolutely squeezed the life out of them. Just absolutely squeezed the life out of them because they had nothing left. That's why that snap. That's why they had so many bad snaps. It's because Mason Graham was bullying their center the whole night. Because that's what was causing. I know he had snap problems early in the year, but he cleaned it up. And so everybody was, going into this game, Alabama's offensive line was a strength. Like, can Michigan's defense get pressure? Can they get a push? And they did. And for 2 quarters, Alabama's offense didn't know whether it was coming or it was going, because Mason Graham was bullying their center, and that's why he had so many bad snaps, is because he was trying to get it off quick, because he wanted to get into because because he's trying not to false start, right? Trying not to false start, trying to get set, get the snap off, get up, and get on Mason Graham before Mason Graham can get a head full of steam. And so when you're snapping, when you're overcommitting to a quick snap, you're gonna miss, because Mason Graham was eating him alive on those pass plays. And look at the 2 plays where he fumbled, or where he had bad snaps. They were pass downs. They were pass plays. And then on the last one, he wants to on the play in overtime. He wants to fire off quick, get that snap back, get up and get a push, and push the line of scrimmage back into the Michigan end zone. And he knows he needs to go quick, because he's got to beat that. He's got to make that first step. He's got to beat Mason Graham to that first step. So he snaps that ball, and before he's ready, right? So he snaps the ball, and he pulls his head up too soon, and that ball, that snap is, instead of in the hands of the quarterback, it's at his knees, and he's got to scoop it. And by the time he gets it gathered up, Isaiah Stewart's got the right tackle in the backfield. Mm-hmm. Right on Milroe's hip. He took the right tackle and put him. He took a 360-pound man at 245. He takes a 365-pound man, puts him in the 2 yards into the Alabama backfield, and puts him on Milroe's hip. And then it's just a matter of crashing down and finishing the job. That's the difference.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes.
It's, like I said, it comes down to the 2 best teams, I think, in college football are playing for it all. I think when it comes down to, I think everyone, it's a shame that the Pac-12 is gone, and now you have a Pac-12 team in the playoff this year, and they're in the final 2. They played a great semifinal game against Texas, and
they did.
And it's just a shame that the conference has dissolved itself. And next year, where did Washington?
They'll be in the Big Ten.
Big Ten, okay.
Yep. So then they'll be in the Big Ten.
So they'll be playing again probably next year.
Yes, we play them next year in October, I think.
So,
no, they were like
that's just a shame, but there you go.
It is what it is.
Well, the Pac-12, I think, overall was a good conference this year. I think didn't they win a majority of their bowl games?
Yeah, I think so. I think they went like 6-3, 7-3, something like that. I'm not sure. I have to look it up.
Yeah,
but and still, I can't believe it's real, man.
Well, as they say, and that's what Harbaugh and McCarthy said. We have one more game. It's like the Miracle Ice game, right? Like
right.
Yes.
When the USA beat the Soviets, we had to play another game to win the gold medal. I mean, if we lost,
Norway, I believe.
If we had lost that next game,
it doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, we didn't maybe not. Yeah, the USSR game, there would be no miracle game because it didn't mean anything had we not
Right.
won.
Right.
And then if we win,
No,
and then beat them the next was it the day after or something like that, 4-2.
2 days later, yeah.
And we once again, just like in the Soviet game, we fell behind early and then rallied to
Had to
finish
rally.
the goal. But I mean,
did.
it's
And,
just like I think it.
yeah. Definitely. I've been thinking about that.
Yeah,
And I think it rings true for both teams. Like, you play 15 games, you lose one, and it's the most important game of the year, and your season ain't worth shit.
Yeah.
You come all this way just to lose it down in Houston. I mean,
yeah.
And that's the thing that I like about the fact that it's Monday. There isn't 2 weeks for me to gestate on this nonsense. I don't have to sit here with my stomach in knots for another. I've got 48, 50 some odd dollars, and it's over.
Is it or is it off at 7?
I think it's 7:30, 8 o'clock ish.
Because if it's 7 or 7:30, that'll be nice because the game will be over around 11. People that have to go to work on.
No, I'm taking Tuesday off. I won't be at work. They can fire me. I don't care. I will not be at work on Tuesday. One way or the other, I will not be at work on Tuesday.
But yeah,
I will find another job.
It just comes down to it depends on what the demographic is. If they're going to how they look at it, are they going to have more people at 8 or have more people at 7? Because you have to factor in 2 West Coast. So if they
I think it's.
Or if it's it's 8, it's 5 on the West.
I think it's scheduled for like 7:47 kickoff. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. Yeah, go ahead and look it up.
I'll look real quick. Hang on a minute.
Yeah. Well, you look that up. I'll be right back.
I was even talking about maybe like popping on the Hard Rock app and betting on the game.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, Florida just allowed. I could, on March 2nd, I put 50 cents on Michigan to win it all.
It's 7:30. 7:30 kickoff on Monday.
7:30, huh?
7:30. Yep.
Well, they could have scheduled it for a 6:30 kickoff. I'm slot coming in on Tuesday.
And ESPN has ESPN is giving Michigan a 75% chance of winning the game.
I'm a 4.5-point favorite.
Because with 50% to start.
And tickets are as low as $788.
Plus tax.
Wow, they've come down.
4.5
earlier.
Not clue, folks.
So line is 4.5. The over under is 56 and a hook. So there you go.
56. Huh?
Say 50.
56 and a hook.
I think it's going to go higher.
No, I'm going to take Michigan. I'm taking Michigan the points in the over.
So am
I. So if I'm to go with that, bud, and I put $10 on the game and I go that route, Michigan, the points and the over. Okay. I'm tempted. I'm tempted. I'm really thinking about making a bet on that. I've never gambled on sports before, but now that it's fun, I thought, what the hell? I'll take a shot at the national championship game. I mean, to me, I think college football is easier to bet on than the pros because I don't think I'd bet any money on the pro games this weekend because you're going to have so many people sitting out.
So many people out. Yeah.
I mean, other than the Bucks who are playing for a playoff spot, but like the Ravens, you're not going to see any of those starters against Pittsburgh, the Chiefs, the Eagles. I mean, they've already the Eagles will play because they have to clinch the division. They have to have Dallas lose, which I don't think they're going to lose to Washington anyway. But still,
it depends on how many.
Yeah. So I mean, it's hard to. Well, next year when the season rolls around, when you get into like the first like 6th or 7th, 8th week of the season, then you can bet on NFL football because you kind of know where everyone's at. But not at the
Yeah,
beginning of the season because it's too hard to figure it
I
out.
like I like I like betting on college football at the beginning of the year when it's all those cupcake games, and you can take you can just bet winners and losers, and you take put $5 on a 25 leg parlay for
And the
and pick
beginning
all
of
the
the year,
favorites.
the beginning of the year is the time to ease because you're playing most of the time I should say. You got the top 5, top 10 teams playing against cream puff teams.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'd say
nobody's
Michigan playing Toulouse,
Arkansas
Toulouse,
State.
Alabama, or whatever, or University of Delmarva Peninsula against Florida. You get the idea. Teams that you don't heard of and probably have a 5%, 3% chance of winning.
You got Michigan and Arkansas State.
I don't show no sarcasm, but you get the idea. It's teams that you expect to beat.
Yeah, 100%. And
Well,
that's what makes
and you'll never prepare for an upset. Like we never. I mean, for example, let's back to USF playing Alabama. Let's say USF had won that football game. No one in their right mind, unless you just are taking
some kind of savant,
that you were going to bet that game. No one bet USF to win that football game.
right?
We all knew going in, and even myself, writers, we thought we were going to get blown out. Now, we played a hell of a football game, and I think, as I wrote my article, I think that was the game that changed USF's season. I know it was a loss, but I think it showed what kind of team we could have been. And I think against Syracuse, it all came to be in one shot. Our offense was unstoppable. Defense was stopping. And yes, I know Syracuse didn't have their starting quarterback. They didn't have their second string quarterback. But let me ask you this. Do they play defense? They play special teams? No. So
Apparently not.
I hear I went down, guys, to get a shirt at halftime, and I'm actually wearing the shirt right here.
Right on.
But I mean, but as I'm walking down, we were up 38-0. I'm like, dude, what ultimate reality am I in right now? Because we didn't play this well, and all of a sudden we come down to South Florida. I drive 5 hours to get here, and we put the best game on paper right now. And now the unfortunate part is we don't get to play football now until the spring game, in March. But I mean, we have to wait to see how the team plays going in the next season. And, we do have Alabama and Tuscaloosa. So I don't know. Who knows? We might give them a run for their money again, on the road next year.
Give them a bloody nose.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think that's what y'all did against Alabama. You gave them a bloody nose, and you scared the piss out of them.
Yeah.
You scared the piss out of you scared the piss out of Nick Saban, and that was a come to Jesus meeting for Alabama. And from that Texas loss until Saturday or Monday night, they won 12 straight games, and they looked outstanding. It wasn't always the most beautiful thing, but they earned a shot.
People are going to say they had that miracle against Auburn in the Iron Bowl, but hey, it happened. So
I mean, that's what good teams.
So,
but that's what good teams do, right? We've heard that for time immemorial. It's like I was talking about because I called my best friend and I screamed at her. I was like, "Hey, I just had to scream at somebody. Thanks," and hung up. It was like 30 seconds, and then I called my mom. My mom and I had been watching. We'd all been watching the game together, and I called her and I was talking to her for a little while. And I was telling, you were talking about, the game. There's a reason why they're cliches. The sports cliches, like win on first down, win on third down. Got to win the turnover battle. There's a reason why they're cliches, because they work, because they're true. If they weren't true and they didn't work, we wouldn't use them. And so, when it comes to things like that, now I lost my train of thought where I was going. I had a point. It's going somewhere, but the train crashed and everyone died. So, but, oh, yeah. About what you were saying about Alabama, about good teams. Good teams find a way. At the end of the day, good teams find a way. Whether it was 3rd and 31 or 4th and 31, or whether it was the final drive, down by 7, and I gotta have a game because Jim Harbaugh doesn't come back if they lose that game. Jim Harbaugh's on to something else.
Yeah.
And who knows what happens next, right? Who knows where can they retain Sean Moore? Can they retain Jesse Minter? Does Mike Hart leave for somewhere else? Does the team implode? Because that's what happens to teams that aren't built for this. And I'm not saying Alabama or Texas weren't built for it, but what happens to teams that lose in big games, in big moments, as they fold up and go away.
Yeah, Texas should have won that. They had their chance to win though, but they fell flat at the end. They had 3 opportunities from the 3-yard line, and they couldn't get it.
And that's but all credit to the Michigan defense, man. But and this is something that I harp on all the time. Harp on it. You know what? The other team is allowed to make plays.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as Alabama didn't succeed on 3rd and goal and 4th and goal and 5th and goal and give them 100 chances, I don't care. Michigan all the way. Michigan made plays when they needed to make plays, and Alabama, even if that execution is 100% perfect, I don't think it makes a difference because Michigan made the play, man. At the end of the day, Michigan made the play, Alabama didn't. Michigan executed, Alabama didn't.
Right.
You okay, Lou?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I upset you. I wasn't trying to upset you.
No, I saw just responding to some messages. But I think Texas should have won. Texas had that game in the back. All they had to do was just get to the 3-yard line. They could have won it. But then, of course, gotta call the smoke signal.
And that's what I'm saying. Execution. I thought the Texas call game. I thought the Texas. See, I was so emotionally drained after the game, after the Michigan game. I was so high. The highest of highs, trying to come back down from that.
In other words, you could have been like
something like that. But coming back down from that high, getting so emotionally up for that game,
sure,
and then having to come down for it, and then coming down from it, I just wasn't in a more football mood. Like win, lose or draw, because last year, obviously, we played in the second game last year, but after losing, I didn't even watch the championship game. I didn't even bother. Didn't take off. Didn't call off. Went and worked both days. Worked the day before. Worked the day after. Didn't care. And so I won't blame Alabama fans if they're kind of emotionally drained and they don't care about the championship game.
No, they don't.
These lights are very bright, and I can't.
I'm looking forward to this.
They'll be back in the thick of it next year in the SEC anyway. They don't go away. They don't go away.
Well, I'm not too crazy about how all the conference changes are happening, and it may come to a point where I'm gonna have 2 or 3 conferences in college football. I mean that's gonna destroy. I think it's gonna destroy the game.
How?
You don't think so?
I mean, it would change the game, but I don't see how it would destroy the game. I mean,
because people
the
like to watch
games,
the conference games, don't they? College football.
in the divisional games, people get up for Dallas and Philly. I mean, I'm still going to be locked in for Michigan, Ohio State. I don't care if we play them 3 times in a row. I don't care if we play them in I don't care if next year.
With the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. I think because
Well, but I mean, this is. But come on, man. You've been around. You've been around the block. You remember the Big Eight, right? The SWAC. Those went away. It didn't ruin everyone's life. No, the life went on. College football went on. Built new rivalries. You found the Big East. The Big East folded up and went away. Your life wasn't ruined. I mean, as a Rutgers fan, it might have been ruined a little bit, but that's on them, not you. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still gonna hate Ohio State. I don't care if we play them 3 times. I don't care if we play them 3 times in a row. I want to beat them every single time. And are you wearing a Devils? Are you wearing a Devils sweatshirt?
Yes. I have on the Ranger game though.
Blasphemy!
You're a Ranger. You might get black thrown as a Rangers fan wearing the enemy.
Remember,
that's the enemy.
Remember, my significant other is also a Devils fan.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. So he's wearing it to impress his significant other. Okay. No worries.
You guys know. Or know us.
Fair enough.
But
actually,
you
guys have saw. I've heard on the show my show before.
Right. But the Big East went away. The Big 8 expanded to the Big 12, which is confusing now because they're bringing in new teams, and the Big 10 is adding teams from the Pac-12. But the Pac-12 cut off its nose to spite its own face. They didn't want to work with the teams. They didn't want to work with SC. They didn't want to work with Oregon. They didn't want to work with the money teams to generate revenue. And the problem is 90% of the country lives east of the Mississippi. And that's where the television audience is on the East Coast. Yeah. And so those tend to, like we talked at nauseum, if you aren't working second shift or an absolute lunatic diehard college football fan,
but how do you
by 11
USC and USC going on Big Ten or whatever? They don't they don't play West Coast teams. Their teams based on West Coast, and now they're going to be playing East Coast teams. Oh boy, this is a murder.
Yeah, well, but that gives them a new TV market because they can play those games at 3:30 East or 4 o'clock East, and that's noon over there. Like if they start the game, like Michigan goes to SC at 4:30. That's a 1 o'clock, 1:30 kick.
Game.
It's a 1:30 kick in Southern California.
No, noon here.
But they won't have. Yeah, but no, I don't. I think that those games will be moved to the 3:30, 4 o'clock time slot.
Well, if it's a noon kickoff and they're here on the East Coast, it'll be breakfast time in
9 a.m.
It'll be 9 a.m.
But
in California.
But it's a lot easier to get. It's a lot easier to get people up at 9 a.m. than it is to keep people up at 11:30 after watching football all day.
I agree.
Because people on the West Coast that like college football back east, like all the Michigan. I was listening to so many Michigan podcasts, and not just Michigan podcasts, but podcasts in general, that went to Southern California. Then went to Southern California for the Rose Bowl, and they were talking about it being a sea of maize and blue, like as far as you could see, maize and blue. And we're not just talking about people that came from Michigan or from the East Coast. There were probably 20 or 30,000 people that were there that lived in California. 15,000 easy. And you already got those people up at noon to watch a Michigan game. Might as well put them up against SC. And you've already got that crowd. And then there's a huge contingent of East Coast people that went west 35, 40 years ago. They never changed loyalty. Because they grew up in the Midwest. They grew up in Ohio. They grew up in Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York. And they all got fancy They all got fancy degrees from Ohio State and Notre Dame and Purdue. Okay, maybe not Purdue, but Michigan and Rutgers, and then they moved across the country because that's where high end work. That's where all the tech jobs were. All these high end fancy degree jobs. They all went to be lawyers at Google because Google has a good team of lawyers. They all went to Princeton and Yale, but you got dozens and dozens of kids that went to Princeton and Yale and Harvard that grew up in the upper Midwest, that grew up in Michigan and Minnesota and Wisconsin and Illinois and Ohio, who stayed loyal to their home schools, but went to the Harvards and Yales and Princetons. They went to Ivy League schools and Brown and Cornell, and I can name a dozen other ones, who then moved out west to Silicon Valley 25 years ago when it was blowing up at the beginning of the dot-com boom in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And now they're they're still loyal to Illinois, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. And they wear their gear all year round. And so by moving UCLA and USC to the Big Ten, it's not just bringing in new fans to the Big Ten, but it's bringing all those fans back to the Big. It's keeping those fans in the Big Ten. All the Michigan people, the Ohio State people, the Penn State people that went out west 25 years ago, that now have kids in their early teens and are looking for and are getting into college football like we were 35 years ago. And so by bringing in these new schools, and I think that's the other thing about, like, this is not just the Big Ten. The SEC is bringing in Oklahoma
Yes.
and Texas. And I'm sorry, but Oklahoma and Texas are the South.
Yes.
And it makes sense for them to be in the SEC. It really does. And so
Geographically correct,
and-
too.
it makes more geographical sense for them to be in the Big Ten, which is what 25 years ago, I thought we would have three divisions. You'd have the Midwest from Minnesota to the coast would be the Big Ten. The Mason-Dixon line to Texas would be the SEC, and
Sure.
everything in the West Coast from the Dakotas to the coast would be
Pac-12.
the Pac-12. I didn't see the Pac-12 imploding 25 years ago. Or 15 years ago.
And the network signed a major deal with to cover Pac-12 games. Now, thanks to this, what's the word I'm looking for? Evaporation. That's all shot to hell.
That was the other big thing about the Pac-12. The Pac-12 was only on Pac-12 teams. So when I lived in Michigan, I got the Big Ten Network, I got Longhorn Network, I got the SEC Network, I got the ACC Network. You know what network I didn't get? I didn't get the Pac-12. I didn't get the Pac-12 network. Nope. That was the only network I didn't get. I got the Big Ten. Obviously, lived in Michigan.
Sure.
I got the Big 12. Okay. Because it had Texas. I got Longhorn Network. I got ACC. And I got SEC. I moved to Tennessee. I got ACC. I got SEC. I got Big 10. I got Pac-12, Big 12. And I got ACC. Still didn't get Pac-12. And that was the other sticking point for USC and UCLA to leave.
Yeah.
Is the TV deal sucked.
Certain systems. That's the problem.
Well, it didn't matter. I had YouTube TV, I had DirecTV, I had Dish Network, I had three major cable providers, and I didn't get the Pac-12 on any of them. And the thing is they wouldn't come down. The Pac-12 was only on the top tier, and I was not paying an extra $150 a month for one
Right.
network for teams that I didn't give two shits about.
Yeah.
If I was lucky and got it anyway. And there was no guarantee that if I went up to the next tier, I would get one network of teams that I didn't give two shits about.
It's just kind
I
of like
like
it's
Air
just kind of,
Force. I like them. I like the Air Force. I think
yeah.
that's the only Pac-12, and I think they're actually in the Mountain West. Now that I think about it, they're in the Mountain West, aren't they? Like I didn't give two shits about. I didn't give two shits about SC. I didn't give two shits about Cal. And that's the problem is that the Pac-12 didn't give two shits about us. The Pac-12 was very insular. All Pac-12 games, unless they were East Coast or Central, if and we never went out there for big games. We didn't go to Oregon. We didn't go to Washington. We didn't go to Southern California for games. When was the last time Texas played SC anywhere outside of Gary World? I mean, and how do you grow your fan base? How do you convince your fans? And I'm talking about Pac-12 fans to give a shit about your games when you're telling them that you don't give a shit about your games. Make it make sense. You don't care about the team. You don't care about competing
Right.
against the best teams in the country. You don't care about recruiting. You talk about recruiting in the South, right? And Georgia and Florida and Alabama have a stranglehold on it, right? Texas has a stranglehold on the deep South, in the Southeast or Southwest. Sorry, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma. Oklahoma dominates their segment of the country. Michigan and Ohio State that dominate the Midwest and the East Coast. And yet you see all these kids from California coming to Ohio State. They're not going to California. They're not going to Cal. They're not going to SC. They're not going to Oregon. Okay, maybe Oregon, but how can you have a conference that has one team and then nobody else?
It's not a conference.
And I think that's the big thing. I think that's the big thing about blowing up the conferences and starting all over, is that you get more diversity, right? You don't just have Alabama, Georgia, and Florida taking everybody they want and leaving scraps for the rest of us. And all offense to the SEC, but fuck you guys. It's nice, and for the last 2015, well, did I ever tell you about the time I got chirped at the gas station? I think I might have, but this was 2021. It was right after the Ohio State game. Finally beat them in Ann Arbor for the first time in 8 years. And, I go into the gas station. I'm getting snacks, and I think I got gas, and I get snacks and nicotine. And some guy, just some random guy, no idea who he was, haven't seen him since, just started chirping me about being from Michigan for no reason. I didn't say anything to him or anything. And it's like Ohio State, I think.
Of course.
Ohio State and Alabama.
Teams hate each other anyway, so if you're gonna be,
Right, but
there's gonna be problems, and they could be razzing you. So that's not a surprise to me.
but it's the gas station, my man. I'm not doing nothing. I'm just going to get some drinks.
That's where it always happens, because sometimes when I go in, I see, because they know I'm a Cowboy fan. I can't be called Jaguar and Cowboys fan because I know some Eagles fans got to come and beat the crap out of me because the Eagles and Cowboys hate each other, and the Eagles fans are the most dirtiest fans in football. Of course, I got to told you that. That's a no brainer right there. I mean,
Right.
some teams hate each other teams with a passion, especially if you're like a division rival. They will razz you to death. They're like, oh, screw you. We're better than you. I got a good mind to beat the living crap out of you. And Cowboy fans, shut up.
Yeah.
That's what they do. I mean, they take it more seriously and more bitter than years past. But it's always been a rivalry. If you're gonna come across it, there's gonna be a little bit of a confrontation. I just wish it wasn't as bad, as bad as it is now, because now they take it more seriously with more complications happen because the fans today, especially in the rivalries, they're a lot more dirtier. Not just the teams, but the fans as well, because they really get on other people's cases.
Yeah, but
I
no.
mean, to put this bluntly, they want to break your balls.
No, no doubt.
That's what.
No doubt about that. I was going to say, you're talking, Michigan's playing Washington on Monday. If you guys get a chance,
Yes.
the movie Boys in the Boat is definitely a must-see movie about the rowing team that competed in the Berlin Olympics.
Okay.
Go. I
36,
saw it.
right?
I saw it on Christmas Eve. No.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
No.
Okay.
No. I no. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. No,
Maybe.
not Christmas.
Yeah, no, maybe.
A couple weeks ago. I've seen 2 sports movies. That one is more motivational, obviously, based
Sure.
on a true story and them overcoming, the odds to, get there. The other one that I saw, guys, was the Iron Claw about the Von Erich family, who I didn't really realize how much tragedy that family suffered from 2 of their sons committing suicide to, it's just that family was like cursed, if you can say
I heard it
that.
was really good.
No, it was a good. No. Both of those. If you're a sports fan, no matter if you don't like wrestling or you don't like. I mean, I don't know how many people like rowing. I don't know too many row fans out there, unless you are as a kid or you did it yourself in
Harvard.
college. Yeah, Harvard.
Yale.
They're definitely go sees. Both of them are definitely go see movies
I'll
because
keep that in mind.
they're both worth going to see in the movie theater because of the actors that play in them and the actresses that they make the movie great to go see. Yeah, so I mean, I definitely would recommend that. But the Washington thing brought up the Boys in the Boat thing about them winning the gold medal in Berlin, which they weren't supposed to do because Hitler thought that Germany had the top greatest people and athletes in the world. Obviously, Jesse Owens proved him wrong when it came to track and
Exactly.
field. They forgot about they forgot it because they were going to ban African Americans from competing in those games, but yes, they boycotted and Jesse Owens had all those records. So
Yeah.
but yes, I mean, at the end of the day, it does suck that, and I think that's what makes sports so great. We all don't cheer for the same team, because if we all cheered for the same team, it'd be boring. The fact of the matter is, you can't walk into a gas station with wearing, like Lou, you live in New Jersey. You can't walk into a gas station wearing cowboy gear because you're scared that Eagle fans that live in New Jersey will give you a hard time. That's not fair. You should be able to roll your gear out all year round. And, with me, and I'm sure I've told you guys this story, the year that the Gators played Ohio State in the national championship game, the Buckeyes were undefeated, right? I was in line in Orlando at Disney World behind Ohio State kids that were down here for whatever break, whatever. And and I still have the shirt to this day. It says "Beat the nuts out of the shoe," and they gave me the hardest time in the world. Why I was wearing that shirt, and I look at them, I say, "You do realize what state you're in, right? You're not in Ohio. You're in Florida. You're in Gator country. Don't come down here and think that you're not going to get made fun of, because it's not like that. Now, if I was in Ohio, you have all the right in the world to give me a hard time. But when you're down in Florida, and I've been, I've gone when I went to Nashville 2 years ago to watch the Lightning play the Predators, when you get off the plane and you go to their hockey arena and you walk in their shop, all the Nashville stuff is there, and you're in Lightning here. You know that
Yeah.
you're in enemy territory. But I never ever felt worried or threatened by any Nashville Predator fan because they're not like that. And then I'll be honest with you,
These
Lou.
hockey fans are the best fans in the world.
I went to New York for a week, and I went to Madison Square Garden to see the Islanders and the Rangers play each other, which is a rivalry in New York. Those two teams don't like each other. They come from two separate sections of New York. Do you know that I didn't fear for my life except when I went to New Jersey to see the Lightning play? Because everybody, as soon as I got on the PATH train in New Jersey from Penn Station, where 9/11 is at, where the trade centers were, I got off the train in New Jersey and I got heckled the entire walk from the time I got off the train to the time I got in the stadium to the time I went back to New York. So Devil fans are just as aggressive with having opposing
They are.
arena.
They are.
Yeah.
Except for girlfriend.
I mean, I guess it comes with the territory. Like it comes with the territory, right? I guess it comes down to you have to be prepared to take. But you can heckle somebody, but you don't threaten somebody's life or their significant other's life or their family's life over a sporting event. It's not worth it.
Right.
I'm going to kill your family because you're a Cowboys fan in New Jersey, or I'm going to kill your family because you're a Michigan fan in Ohio. You just, you don't do that. I know if I'm going to go to Tallahassee later this year to see the Florida State, I know I'm going to get heckled for wearing blue and gold, orange and blue. I know I'm going to get heckled. I know I'm already prepared for that. But, so who knows? We'll see. But again, it's a shame that there are people that, threaten other people over sporting events, or even what I think is worse is people getting into fights at sporting events. That boggles my mind.
Yeah,
you go to a sporting event to get into a fight, that's asinine.
100%. It's just the dumbest shit ever.
Is it worth going to jail for a sporting event, for something that's going to happen next year, or like if it's baseball, which we're getting ready to go to spring training here in the next 2 months? Is it worth going to a game in April and fighting with somebody because there's only 160 something games left?
Right.
There's a long season ahead when it comes to baseball, So
that's the thing that kills me. It's like we're just fans. We're there to enjoy the game and the entertainment, right? Sorry, I had to come inside. My toes were cold. But we're just there to enjoy the game. And they go on to beat each other.
Yeah.
Because I get fights in the game, right? I get, somebody does something, somebody grabs somebody, you get speared, or you get, something stepped on, or, you catch an elbow. Right, I get fighting, and, I get the occasional fight. You get dumped going into 3 with 2 laps to go. Yeah, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be fighting mad. What I don't get is people fighting in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hate Ohio State. I hate their fan base. I don't want to fight any of them, because that's dumb.
Yeah.
That's just dumb. Like you said, it's not worth the jail time. It's also not worth the busted knuckles.
Well, it's not just so much college either. It's pro sports too that people. I've gone. I was at a Lightning game a couple of years ago. And the Islanders were in town. Dude, I was there with my best friend, my former roommate, and you guys have seen him on the show before. Danny, you've seen him on the show before. He popped in last year.
Yep.
But he was with me, and we were in. There was, I think, like 6 Islander fans sitting in front of us, and I like eating Outback when I go to Amalie Arena, and hopefully you guys can come down and watch a hockey game with me sometime. But going to the arena, I like their chicken fingers and fries. So I come in, I like the bloomin' sauce, what you dip the bloomin' onion. If you've ever been to Outback,
Right.
that
Bloomin'
orange
onion.
sauce. And I just sat down, guys, and I was eating my fries. I didn't say a word to any of these guys, not a single solitary word, and they harassed me from the time I sat down. I didn't say a word, and we lost that game, by the way. The Islanders beat us,
Ugh.
and I actually had to laugh a little bit because later on that season, the Lightning took the Islanders out of the playoffs to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. We beat them in the Eastern Conference Final, and see, now I want to see those guys and say, okay, you gave me shit. Now can I give it back to you? Because one of them wanted to fight me, man. One of them wanted to fight me. He was waiting for me down, like, in the concourse. He was standing there waiting for me to come down the stairs, and I'm like, dude, I didn't say a word to you or your girlfriend. And his girlfriend was like, don't fight him. Yeah, because if you swing on me and hit me, I'm A, going to sue you, and B, you're going to go to jail. I'm going to go home. I mean,
like, if you swing on me,
yeah,
I don't want to. If you swing on me, we're both going to the hospital, and you're going to jail.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what's the point? What's the point of you going to jail, especially if you're down here on vacation? So you spend the last day of vacation in jail before they have to bail your ass out, and that's if you can make your flight back to New York, back to Long Island.
And then you have to come back down at some point later and deal with your court stuff.
Yep.
So, I mean, because, like, if you swing on me, I'm swinging back.
Yep.
Like, everything's on cameras. Everything's got cameras. Those guys over there have got their cameras out. They're ready to snap pictures. You swing on me, I'm swinging back. We're both going to the hospital, and you're going to jail.
Yep. Because you instigated the fight. Yep.
You can't start a fight. I get to fight back. You don't just get to start a fight. I get to fight back. Thank you.
Yep.
You better make it a good one, because I'm coming. Because if I can get up, I'm coming up swinging.
Yeah. Well, that's the point too, bud. Is what happened in that game is I go down there. I said, my thing is, hey, I'm not getting in a fight. I'm walking out of here. You want to come after me?
Right.
Well, to come after me, but my best friend who was with me, he's like, I'll fight. I go, no, dude, it's not worth it, man. You don't need to freaking get into. I don't need to come bail your ass out of jail because that's what they're looking for. They're looking to catch you and aggravate you enough to where you retaliate. If you don't say anything to them and you walk away, you win, they lose. And
right, absolutely.
It gets to the point where it gets annoying and every fan base, unfortunately, has those fans in their fan base.
Right.
It's just unfortunate that and then the funny thing is everybody will label a certain fan base bad because of those fans. That's what sucks.
Right.
I've gone, you guys both know, I'm a Red Sox fan. I go to Tropicana Field, I get harassed for being a Red Sox fan in Tampa Bay. I've got people come up on me to want to fight me. I'm like, dude, it's a baseball game. I'm here. I'm paying. I paid for a ticket. I'm buying your concessions. Your owner's making money out of my pocket. And you're going to fight me? Come on now.
Come on, man.
Well, I've never been to a game in Yankee Stadium, but I would love to go to a Red Sox Yankee game in Yankee Stadium. So I would love to go do that sometime, but
you need about 40 of your closest.
Because I know that there are great Yankee fans like Lou Would fight me. He's not going to be idiot. There might be some great Yankee fan, even though they hate the Red Sox. Hey, man, sit
Oh yeah,
down. Let's show you where, don't go here, don't go there. Then there are going to be idiots that are going to, they want to fight you. But hey, that's like I
They're gonna
said.
swing on you as soon as they see the red.
Every
spill the
fan
beer on you.
base has stupid fans. Every fan
Well,
base has
and
stupid. So
I mean, even it's not just the fans though. You see what happened in the Panthers in the stadium in Carolina?
Mm-hmm. Heard that.
well, I mean, fill me in. I didn't hear. Fill me in on what happened.
The owner of the Panthers threw his drink on some
Oh.
fans below him.
I saw that. Now that you're talking about David Tepper, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's embarrassing. I'm sorry, but that's embarrassing. You're a grown ass man. You're a multi. He's probably a bill. If he's not a billionaire, he's at least 100 millionaire.
Yeah.
He's got millions. Close the damn window. Be a man. Be a grown up. Grow up.
And it just goes to show you too that it's not only is the players and the fans, that cause the trouble. Sometimes the owners.
Well, the owner. I take more extent. Look, I understand fans get rowdy, right? And shit happens. The passion, like if I'd have been at the Rose Bowl and some Alabama fan wanted to fight, I'd probably fight him. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna sit here and say I wouldn't, because I'm more than man enough to say that if some Alabama fan started chalking junk after the game, and I'm trying to walk away, and he wanted to fight about it, all right, let's go. Let's have it out. Because I'm so jacked up on Mountain Dew and and whatever that was. I'm not gonna sit here and say lie to y'all and say I'm not gonna fight him. I mean, there's a certain. Well, I don't want to fight anybody, but if the Alabama fan wants to fight after the Rose Bowl, I might take him up on it. Have a good old fashioned knockdown drag out, pat each other on the back, and walk away. No need to get the authorities involved. I'm not going to say that I wouldn't because I don't know. I might. I might be willing to throw hands with an Alabama fan after that game. I was so jacked up on Mountain Dew, I was ready to go. That was so great. That's why I don't go to sports bars. That's why I'm thinking about going to the bar on Monday night. I'm thinking about going to my local Buffalo Wild Wings to catch the game. But I also don't want to because, it's SEC country. We beat Bama. And I don't know how Tennessee's going to feel about us, because they hate Bama just.
I was gonna say Tennessee hates Alabama. I think they'd probably be.
Yeah. But how much more do they hate Alabama than love the SEC, right? And that's the thing that I'm worried about, because is their love is their hatred of Alabama stronger than their love of the SEC? Well, and I don't know.
I'll be honest with you right now. If Alabama had beat Michigan and they were playing Texas, I'm an SEC guy, so I'm pulling for the SEC team. Now, if that SEC team is Tennessee, other way around, because I have just a pure hatred for Tennessee. And again, nothing against the state of Tennessee, because I was in Nashville, and Nashville is an awesome city, awesome fans in both the Titans and the Predators. And the White Sox have their AAA affiliate in Nashville as well. But I mean,
sounds right, yeah.
It's a great state, but I just hate the University of Tennessee with every ounce of my being.
Yeah,
but
the fiery passion of 1,000 forming grills.
That'll be the last SEC stadium that I attend in person. Will be Tennessee in Knoxville. The only good thing about Tennessee that came out of Tennessee is Pat Summit. Other than that, everything else is bad. Everything else that has to do with Rocky Top and the checkerboard end zone.
No, Rocky Top is awful. I hate Rocky Top. It's so terrible.
It's that song rubs me the wrong way, and then you had Philip Fulmer and you had Peyton
Manning.
time, and
Oh God,
and
Lane Kiffin.
and now Lane Kiffin's doing so well at Ole Miss, and they're on the rise. There's another team in the SEC
Yeah,
that no one talks about that I think is going up too, is the Rebels all of a sudden. And it's a shame that we lost
they
Mike
continue
Leach
with that.
because I think Mississippi State was also on that rise too.
Yeah,
And to have, the Egg Bowl in Mississippi, I mean, I'm not from there. I have me and my roommate's friend Greg, a Mississippi State guy. He actually went to school there. Um, but the Egg Bowl was great. I mean, and with Leach
yeah.
and Lane Kiffin, that was one of the greatest coaching rivalries ever. If anybody can make it up, it would be great to see. But rest in peace, Mike Leach. But I mean,
Right.
that's what I think. I think there are probably a lot of teams in college football that are on the rise, and Ole Miss is one of those teams in the SEC that
Mizzou.
could be vying for an SEC, championship here in the next couple years. I would think they
I
would be.
think.
I mean, they're not. See, again, there's not going to be a West and East anymore, so it's going to be the best two teams record-wise. So who knows? Ole Miss
Yep.
might go undefeated next year in the conference, and they'll play Texas, or they'll play Georgia
Yeah.
or Alabama.
Right.
It's going to be next season when you don't have one team from the West, one team from the East. It's going to be a little bit different in all these conferences next season, where you might have to play. Michigan may have to play Ohio State again in the Big Ten championship, and Georgia may
Well,
have to play Alabama again in the SEC if that comes down to that. But yeah,
well, that's what I was going to say when we were talking about it earlier. I meant to mention the fact that that's what I started to say, and then we got sidetracked on other stuff, but that's okay. Is that I don't care if we play Alabama or we play Ohio State 3 times in a month. I'm okay with that. I don't care if we catch them if we play them at the end of the year, play them in the Big Ten championship game the next week, and then at the end of the year or the beginning of the next year, play them in a playoff game. That'll be excellent. Get a chance to beat those guys 3 times in a row. I'm okay with that.
right.
I don't think Gerald would have any problem beating Oklahoma 3 times in a row.
I don't think so either.
And I'm sure that you wouldn't care to beat Tennessee 3 times in a row.
I don't know. Florida got lucky they beat Tennessee this year. I don't know if they'll beat Tennessee this upcoming year. They have a tall mountain to climb, and I think the last 5 games of the season is going to be a nightmare for.
Yeah, but Florida recruits well. Transfer portal is going to be stacked. You guys will get a couple of players. You can be right back there. Florida recruits well. Florida's a destination.
We lost our running back to Georgia. Trevor Etienne's brother, he transferred to Georgia, so that's a big loss. On offense. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. Billy Napier has his hands full, and it's going to have a season, and they fire him, then start all over again. It's like we haven't.
Yeah, Billy Napier's got 6 games. Billy Napier's got 6 games.
Yeah.
If you're 3-3 at the halfway point, he's done.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you know what, bud? I think the last 5 games are Georgia, Ole Miss. It might be Tennessee. I don't know who Missouri or somebody. I know they play Florida State, which with the Noles having so much issues on offense, it may be all right. But like the last 5 games, or they play LSU. Those last 5 games are daunting. I mean, they are daunting, and it's you go into that at 3-4 in those final 5, and you lose all 5 of those games, and we go 3-9. He's fired. He's fired.
I don't think he survives. I don't think he gets a chance to go, because I think if you're 3-4 going into the last 5, I think he's already done.
Okay, I mean that might happen too. That might very well happen too.
I mean, I think, but I don't know, man, because Florida's such a destination. Florida is like, Florida does this every 5 years, though, because you guys did it. You guys did it at the end of the '90s. Took a couple of years to rebuild, and then when Steve Springer left, by '07, you're right back in the hunt. And then when Urban Meyer left, I forget who came in after Urban Meyer.
Mullen.
Mullen came in, and he had you guys rolling for a couple years. And then Mullen gets fired because they can't get over the hump, can't beat Alabama, can't beat Tennessee. And now Napier's here, and it's cyclical. And it's something that we talked about before with Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan's gone in a nice little run. Got to go win a championship because I don't know when we'll get another one. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that would be if I was hard and more and Minder, I'd be harping on it all week. And Debo, at Washington, I'm sure he's saying similar things. This is it. You guys are never getting back. So many of the seniors, Corum's not getting back. On the rest of the seniors, names that I forget offhand, but Corum's not calling. No more opportunities. No more coming back next year. This is it. One last run. And
Mm-hmm.
This class is moving on out. The class of 2024 is moving on out. The class of 2024 the graduating class of 2024 is headed on out. Well, the freshmen of 2024 are coming on in.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows where we'll be this time next year. Because the transfer portal will happen. And the transfer portal is very, very interesting. Guys like Isaiah Stewart, oh God, I can't remember his name from last year. Ojuwanino, he's offensive lineman, center for Michigan. Drake Nugent's a senior, he's gone. Stewart's gone, he's a senior. These guys, getting an opportunity to come play big time college football. Because Isaiah Stewart, he was the one that made that play on 4th and goal. And, he was playing at Coastal Carolina last year. Jesus, why can I not speak now all of a sudden? He's playing at Coastal Carolina last year. And I know people don't like the transfer portal for reasons, for various reasons of their own. And they're entitled to their opinion. But I look at the, guys like Isaiah Stewart, Drake Nugent, there's a couple guys Ojuwanino from last year. Other guys, not just at Michigan, but other guys that have had opportunities to come from smaller schools, less powerful schools, like a Coastal Carolina, like East Carolina, like USF, right? You go to USF for 4 years, get a degree, and then you go play 1 year of Big Ten college football, and get a chance to get a shot at the league. You can go play at Florida. You can go play at Tennessee. You come to Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama. Go out and play at USC. Wherever you might want to go for a year to try and improve your draft stock and get exposure. I love the transfer portal. I think that, I look at it the same way. Like, no one complains when, let's say we're back here and Florida has another terrible year. And y'all fired Billy Napier. And you're looking at bringing in somebody new. And nobody complains when the coach moves, when a coach leaves the school. That's okay. That's all right. He's got to do what he's got to do for his family and to take care of himself. But when a player moves, when a player wants to change schools for whatever personal reasons he may or may not have, whether it's he wants to be closer to his family, he wants to be further away from his family, the coach changed, he doesn't like the fit, he wants to try and go play in the league, whatever might be his reason. His reasons are his own, and he's entitled to his own reasons. But people clown on a 19-year-old kid for transferring from a school to another school and demand that he sit out a year because he wasn't willing to wait wait his turn. But when a coordinator or a Deion Sanders or a Jimbo Fisher, when Jimbo Fisher jumped ship from Florida State to A&M, he doesn't have to sit out a year and wait his turn. He can just go because he's a grown up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He's an adult. He's allowed to do that. You're a kid. You need to pay your dues. No, fuck that. Sorry, I'm passionate about that particular issue.
No, no, that's okay. I agree with you. I am also a fan of the transfer portal because I mean, so far again, I think if you have a decent team, you're going to get players to come down here. We've had, I think the USF has had a wide receiver transfer from um, somewhere else to here. I think we've had some corners that
Yeah,
have transferred from their schools to come
you,
down here. So you're going to have a new team next year, and that will help Alex Golish, our coach. And with the stadium opening in 2 years, this is good. This is a good way to go into that stadium because even if we suck the next 2 seasons, which I hope we don't, but if we do, that first game in 2026 when that stadium opens will be sold out. Even if we're playing some half-assed team, it's still going to be a sell because it's a new stadium. People are going to go. But I would like it to be if we were 7-6 this year. Let's say we go 8-4 next year. All right, we go 8-4 next year. We win another bowl game. We get 2 more. We get another win, 1 less loss. Or I mean, we go 8-5 next year. We go 8-5 with the bowl win next year. So I mean, it would be nice to maybe, and then in 2025 we win 10 games for the first time since Charlie Strong's first year. I think as a coach, we won 10 games. But going into that 2026 season, we're on a high note. And who knows with the 12-team playoff, if by the time we roll around to that year, if USF might not be a playoff team, we could be in the
right?
playoffs.
Why
You
not?
know,
Why not?
we don't. I mean, right now you have from what I've been reading, it says the 5 conference winners. Well, wait a minute. You're only going to have 4 major conferences that I'm aware of: Big 12, Big 10, SEC, ACC. So
Mhm.
who's the 5th conference? The AAC? Is it independent? Is it who is it?
Let's see.
Who's the other
The
conference in there?
SEC, Big Ten, ACC,
Big
Big
12.
12.
Who's the
Are
5th
they
conference?
are they are they elevating like the Mountain West? I don't know.
That's what I mean. Is it going to be that, or is it going to be the American, where USF plays?
Right?
I don't
I don't know.
know.
I have to. We'll have to wait and see how this goes. I know it's supposed to be the five Power Five conference, the 5 Power 5 champions, plus 7 at large bids. So the 7 best records remaining. So
Right.
this year it would have been Michigan, Alabama, Florida State, um, Texas, and Washington. They would have been the 5 automatics. With
Right.
the top 4, with the 4 highest getting the buys, and then you seed 7 through 12. Oh, good lord! I just knocked the earpiece out of my ear. You seed 7 through 12 with You seed 7 through 12 with the next best 5 records, 7 records, whatever it is, or 6 through 12. The next 6 best teams get the next 6 best records.
Well, I was reading, but 1 through 4 get a bye. Then it's
Correct.
5. It's 5, 12, 6, 11, and then 6,
7,
11,
10,
7,
7,
10,
10, 8, 9.
and then 8, 9. Okay. Which, if you look at that, that
Mhm.
8 and 9 might be like it is in March Madness, where you have 2 teams that are kind of equal to each other. it could be close, depending on who
Yeah,
that
it's going to be
8-9 is. Yeah.
5 and 6 are going to be a lock. 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, and 7, 8 are going to be toss-ups. Like the 5 and 6 should be locks, and then the 7, 8 are going to be toss-ups. Because you got 7, 10, and 8, 9, and those are going to be. I mean, and because the question I have is that this year you got 7, 9, right? I think that was how that worked. That was Mizzou and Texas. They were 7, 9, or not Texas. Sorry, Ohio State. Do you see? Because the thing I wonder about is like if you're Marvin Harrison Jr., right, and you just got your shit kicked in by Michigan. You played your guts up. You had one of your better games, and you still got your shit pushed in by Michigan. And then you go and you don't get a chance to go play in it. And assuming this year everything is the same. Let's say Iowa is a 11-1, and Ohio State is 11-1, and how do you even make that work? Because that couldn't work. Well, let's say Iowa's 12-0. Let's say Iowa runs the table magically. Let's say their opponents all have terrible plane crashes, and they all have broken legs and they can't play, and Iowa wins 12 games by forfeit. And Ohio State and Michigan play each other in the last game, and Michigan beats Ohio State again, and Marvin Harrison has to sit at home and watch Michigan win its fourth straight Big Ten title. Okay, sorry, let me back up.
Yeah.
I know what I'm trying to say, but it's not coming out right. But anyway, let's say Iowa and Michigan play each other in the Big Ten championship again this year, and there's a 12-team playoff. Do you want to play 2 more games? Do you really have any more football in you? After getting your shit rocked by Michigan again for the third straight year, do you really want to go play Mizzou in the 8-9 matchup, knowing that you're going to have to play 2 more games if you win?
Probably not.
Is that and 2 more chances at getting really badly hurt and potentially going from a first round pick to undrafted? A top 5 pick to the back end of the first round. Because I depending on how terrible the injury is, but let's say Marvin Harrison. Let's say he plays in the Ohio State Missouri game, right? And he has a knee injury. It's not anything super serious, but
right.
Let's say he dislocates his knee, and they pop him back in. He's going to miss 3 to 5 weeks. And he comes back, and now he goes from being a top 5 pick to middle of the first round pick because teams are leery. He's got the injury, but I don't know if we can trust him. How's that knee gonna be? Is that knee gonna be healthy when we get into week 1, week 2, week 3, and when we get into November and December, we need him to make big catches. Is that knee gonna hold up for a whole NFL schedule, or is that knee gonna start giving him problems in December? And so do you the thing I wonder is Marvin Harrison going to sit out the Ohio State Missouri game because it really doesn't matter because winning college championships are nice but they're not necessary to go play in the league? Or does he play? And that's my question going into this 12-team playoff.
I guess, but we'll have to wait and see on again who gets in what teams, and do they want to risk their future playing in a game? You know what I mean? Do they want to risk that, or do they want to?
How much?
You know what? I'm still going to go to the pros. It's not important to me to play in that game, and unfortunately, I may have to watch my rival win another game. You know what I mean?
Go win another national title.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
I can't think. I can't think of any
it comes down but to what's more important to me. Is it more important to me to make money, or is it more important to me to watch my school win a national championship? You know,
Go and the other thing you have to weigh out. There's three things in my mind that have to be weighed out. Right? Who do we have to play? Who do we draw? Because let's say everything stays equal. Let's say everything is equal. Iowa somehow. Let's say next year, Michigan plays Ohio State. They're both 11-0. Or let's say Ohio State drops the game, and Ohio State's 10-1, and Michigan's 11-0, and Iowa is 11-0, and or yeah 12-0. Michigan and Iowa are 12-0, and Ohio State's um 11. Let's say all three teams come in the last weekend tied at 11, and Iowa, or let's take Iowa out of let's say USC. Let's put USC up there. Let's say USC is 11. USC, Michigan. No, that wouldn't work either. Let's say UCLA, because UCLA doesn't play us. I think they play Ohio State, but that's notwithstanding. Let's say UCLA doesn't play Ohio State next year, just for wanting an example. And Michigan beats Ohio State. UCLA wins their last game. I think. Let's say they play USA. They play USC, and Michigan and UCLA are both 12-0 and are going to go play in the Big Ten championship game. And Ohio State has to sit at home yet again after losing 4 in a row. How many of those senior guys that are looking at going and playing in the league are going to want to play in a playoff game that, as a fifth seed, a sixth seed? Yeah, it'll be a home playoff game, but then you have to go play another game, and then if you win that game, then you got to go play You got to go play a championship game, and that's 3 more chances to get hurt in games that really don't matter to you. They only matter to the fans of the team and the boosters of the team, the people that can make money off it. And people have been so resistant to the NIL and to the money. The NCAA doesn't give two shits about these kids' health. All they care about is making money off them. And they fight it. They fight every inch. They fight tooth and claw to keep the kids from making money. And if I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it and I'm going, I made $3 million this year in NIL, and I had to give half of that to my government, both state and local, and so I brought home 1.5. And these games really don't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. And I bore out my knee, and then say you're a borderline. You're first or second round, you're your back half of the first round, top of the second round, and you blow out your knee, and you need knee surgery, and it's going to be 6 months, and you're not going. The earliest you're going to be ready is the end of training camp, the end of August, beginning of September, and you go from being a first round pick to a 5th round pick, and you go from making $10 or $12 million a year to making less than half of that. Does it even behoove you to play in the playoff? I don't think the playoff changes the mindset of a lot of these players who are thinking about their future, and you can't blame them.
no, not at all. Well, guys, you want to call it a show right there?
I'm perfectly happy with calling it a show right there.
All right, Lou, do you want to go ahead and talk about your show, but on Saturday?
All right. Enhanced Sports Show is back from the break on Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Number to call is 512-543-4662. I'll repeat again, 512-543-4662. There's some things I didn't get a chance to cover on the last show, so I'll bring it up right now, and I'll bring it on Saturday, because I have some nominations for the worst moments of 2023. One, namely, of course, Georgia versus TCU in that horrible, whatever you want to call game from the last January. Yuck. Also, the American hockey player that was in London who died during the game. And probably the worst moment of all, Travis Kelce's performance on Saturday Night Live back in March. Oh, what a tragic
Oh,
oh, awful. Wow. Was that awful? That was the worst.
play him out, Ed.
Boy, that sucks. Okay. Also, belated happy birthday to my nephew Gavin, and my niece Starlin, who were both born in December, although not in the same year. We'll put it that way. Of course, we'll also have
Or last year.
the preview of the College Bowl Championship, which will hopefully be better than the Georgia Florida State game. I hope. Also, NFL Week 18, final week of the regular season, guys. Remember that. We'll also gotta get your opinions on the new football league, the useless football league. I mean, the United Football League coming up in March. You know it's gonna get somewhere with that. Also thoughts on the new women's hockey league that just started this week. That's right, folks. There's a new women's hockey league that just started. Those of you who are not aware. So I'm gonna get some
Well,
thoughts
that
on that
seems
from special
looks
guests
okay.
as well. NBA, the NHL, of course, wrestling, of course, WWE and UFC, and of course, hot stove news. Um, Sports trivia,
Yeah, pitchers and
Eagles
catchers
had
are getting ready to
it's
report
gonna be a
tomorrow.
good one. It's gonna be a good one because I think we know what it is. This week in sports history and sports trivia and anything else I can think of. So if you got time between 4 and 6 Saturday, that's East Coast time, by the way. Remember that. 512-543-4662 is the number. 2024 is going to be a big year in the sports world. So I hope I get as many people as I possibly can to call into the show.
All right, well, guys, we will be back. I guess the lady that I was supposed to have on, I'll have to talk to her again. I'm sure she'll be on in the future. She was supposed to come on tonight. She met me through LinkedIn, so she'll probably be on in the next couple of weeks. But it was cool having you guys back, getting back into it. I do apologize for
Good to be back.
December with the bowl games and the holidays and stuff. It's like you get to that month, like I gotta go to a bowl game, then I gotta come up with a show. It's really hard. But
Hectic month. It was okay.
I'll adjust it next year, this year coming up. But
Well,
anyway,
we'll do it like we do every show, won't it?
Yeah, this Tuesday I'll be might be announcing my first high school basketball game. So that's gonna be cool. That might happen.
That's fun.
But anyway, until guys, like I said, we'll be back next week. I want to thank everyone that joined the show, our sponsors, and the networks that hold our show. We'll have Gerald back next week, hopefully, if everything goes well with his wife and everything. But until then, guys, I am the sports star Bradley Walker. This has been the Walker Report. Peace.
Hi, folks.
Prince Sunday. Good night and good luck.